is now time to talk with Angela Samuels. She is a social media and marketing professional here in Greater West Bloomfield to talk to us about her job. Angela, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Angela, can you start off with explaining a little bit of what you do and some of your work with social media and marketing here in Greater West Bloomfield?
Sure. I started my business in 2008. I went from web designing, and then when I did the websites, people were like, well, how can I get to my website? Like, how can people get to my website? So I ended up transferring into marketing. So what I do is I train small business owners how to do social media on their social media networks. And then part of my job I do is I have a couple clients that I do social media postings for. And then the last piece is I'm technical support for a small cosmetic company that's originally based in West Bloomfield.
Angela, can you tell us a little bit about some of the projects that you're currently working on and how those impact the Greater West Bloomfield community? You talked a little bit about marketing and those tech help that you help with some of those businesses here. Can you explain a little bit either what day-to-day looks like for you or give us some insight into some of those projects?
Sure. I have an author that published his book probably like a year ago, maybe. And it's been pretty interesting. It's about a guy who, before he went to college, he traveled the country, not necessarily the country, in Europe and different internationally. And so he has a lot of different adventures. So that's been really good to get into myself and also have the audience get into the whole story. And plus it kind of gets it away from the whole pandemic, the sadness, and you just want to get away from reality. So this is a good book. And then I have a lawyer who is also based out of Southfield that I work with, and he just transitioned to videos that are animated. So that's been a good, really good experience for me with my clients. So.
Angela, you have a couple of different clients that you mentioned. How do you work to balance going from one project to another, especially with social media marketing? You really have to focus in on the specifics of your clients and some of those businesses that you work with. How do you work to juggle all those different types of tasks that you have?
Well, I get bored easily, so it's really good that I can switch up, because if I'm doing the same thing every day, I don't think I would be happy with my job. So it's really good. But when I do work, when I'm working on a project, I, do it within like 2-hour increments, and then I'll switch over to the other client. So, but it makes my life more exciting, because you're working with a lawyer, you're working with an author, you're working with a cosmetic company. So nothing's really the same every day. So it's nice.
Over the past 2 years, obviously, Angela, with the pandemic, how has that affected your work with everyone going online with their businesses and making sure that they can market even if they're not having those in-person events or conventions that they might have normally?
Well, originally, before the pandemic, my client base was 50 in person and 50 online, 50% online. And so now it's pretty much 90 or 100% online. So it definitely has affected it. And I'm definitely a people person. So, but what I had to do is just transition. I normally, before the pandemic, didn't do social media posts for clients, but now I'm doing it a little bit more because it's online until the pandemic, everything's over with. And then I'll transfer back to a little bit more in person.
Angela, you talked a little bit about your background through social media marketing and tech as well. Is there any one skill or things that have helped you in your business and your profession that you think has allowed you to be so successful in your social media marketing positions now?
I grew up with tech, well, my first computer was when I was 16. So I think just the computer training background, it just keeps helping me when I work with clients, and also just playing around with software. A lot of times when I train people, I'm like, it's okay to kind of play with the software, and that's because I do it myself. That's the only way that you can learn. It's okay to make mistakes, so that has helped me a lot. It's helped my clients, and it has also helped me.
And as we wrap up here, Angela, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience here on the Splash Live, whether that's about your business and the projects you're working on, or any advice for someone that maybe wants to get into social media and marketing in Greater West Bloomfield?
Well, don't forget where your roots are. I've been here, I've been in West Bloomfield since my oldest son was in kindergarten, and we are a tight knit group with the Chamber of Commerce and with the local businesses and stuff like that. And most of my clients are in the area in Michigan or in the West Bloomfield area. I do have clients that are around the country, but the advice I would say is, don't quit. If that's your passion, if that's what you love to do, work on your own sites. That's what I did when I first started. I created, whatever site I had an idea for, and I created a website for it, and I did its marketing, and that's how I built my experience. And then I gained clients from that, or doing pro bono work before you can actually do paying jobs.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your morning, your Monday morning, for joining us this morning, Angela.
Thank you.